What's going on, my people? Welcome back to another episode of the Stop the Count podcast. In this episode, I'll talk about the decent weekend we have waiting for us in both boxing and MMA. Also, Chivas' game versus Monterrey and Milan's game versus Roma. First, for the UFC Fight Night. It's in Paris. It's headlined by heavyweights Ciryl Gane going up against Serghei Spivac. It's in all honesty not the best card. There is a couple fighters I want to watch. First, talking about williamgomis. He was supposed to go up against Lucas Almeida, but that fight was cancelled. And at the time of this recording, the UFC have not announced Williams' next opponent. It is expected that he will stay on the card though. What a fight we would have had if he still would have been fighting Lucas Almeida. Also on the card, benoitsaintdenis versus thiagomoises. This to me is the real main event. This fight is going to steal the show. Two great fighters. Benoit is coming off of a great performance against Ismael Bonfim, and Thiago is coming off of two great showings, but let's be honest. I don't think anyone should think Thiago beats Benoit. Benoit is just a different breed. He has never won a decision, only winning by finish. And for the fight and fighter I'm most excited about on the card, faridbasharat. Farid is going up against kleidisonrodrigues, and if you remember, Kleidison missed weight his last scheduled fight, but that was at flyweight. In this new weight class, the new bantamweight might be a problem for Farid, but I personally don't think so. Farid is just so well-rounded, it's crazy. Farid's wrestling and ground game is obviously his strong suit, and that's who I think will win this fight, faridbasharat. For the co-main event, manonfiorot versus rosenamajunas. This will be Rose's first fight at flyweight and also her first fight back since that horrible fight versus Carla Esparza. Now, I'm not very excited about this fight. It's honestly, in my opinion, a very even fight, and I believe rosenamajunas will win. Now, for the main event, Ciryl Gane versus Serghei Spivac. I'm going to say this every time there's a heavyweight main event. I fucking hate the heavyweight division. Ciryl Gane is coming off of that horrible showing versus John Jones that led to him getting submitted in 2 minutes. This fight won't go the distance. Both are great on their feet, but Spivac is levels ahead of Gane on the ground, and that's where he has to take this fight. I believe Spivac will win this fight by submission. Now for boxing. The only notable card this weekend is a top-ranked card headlined by liamsmith versus Chris Eubanks Jr. 2. Again, I'm not very excited about this card, but there is one fighter on the undercard that I will keep my eye on, and that is adamazim. Adam is, in my opinion, one of the brightest stars of British boxing, and he's going up against a very tough opponent, but Adam's career is on an upward trajectory, and that is going to take him to a world title fight. Now, for the mikaelamayer versus Sylvia Bartot. And yes, this is another fight I could care less about. Michaela is an absolute beast, one of the best women fighters in boxing right now, and the major plus is she's clean. Sylvia, her opponent in her own right, is a good fighter, but let's be honest, Top Rank is still preparing Michaela and doing a great job easing her into this new weight class. There's no doubt in my mind the former Olympian will come out victorious and put on another great display of her boxing ability. Now for the main event, liamsmith versus Chris Eubanks Jr. 2. Yes, this is the second time these two have fought each other this year. The first ending in a great knockout victory for liamsmith in the 4th round. I say I'm not interested in this fight because I feel as if these two fighters aren't going to be serious challengers or contenders for a title anytime soon. Yes, title challengers aren't everything, but I don't even see them as exciting fighters. The only reason I watched the first fight was for all the tension that was being built during the press conference. The first matchup has a lot of people split on who was up at the time of the stoppage, which I think is stupid. Chris lost by knockout. That's all that matters. Chris could have been destroying Liam for 11 rounds, but it will only take one shot to end a fight. Now for this next matchup on Saturday, I believe it will end with one of these fighters getting knocked out. Really just because of the hate both of these fighters had shown towards each other last time around. I find it very hard for these two not to want to take each other's heads off. But now getting into the fight, Chris has to keep his hands up. He was being too quote-unquote slick, which came back to bite him in the ass. Chris has to keep Liam on his back foot. Will he be able to do that? It really just depends on how Chris comes out defensively. A Mayweather or Jones Jr. style doesn't suit everyone. And for Liam, I would say the fight in January for him was perfect, making Chris very uncomfortable, making him fight up against the ropes or in the corner. I wouldn't change a thing. The excellent head movement has to stay consistent though, just the movement in general. no standing still in front of Chris and working Chris's body, trying to make him drop those hands if Chris comes out with better defense. But now for who I have winning this fight, it's an extremely hard choice to make, but I still believe liamsmith will come out victorious. I believe the turnaround is too quick for Chris, and I just don't know how Chris will come out. But now for some soccer, starting with Milan. They play Friday versus Roma in Rome. Yes, Roma have not been off to a hot start, but against one of the top teams in Italy, it's always going to be a well-fought game. In their last 5 matches facing each other, Milan have a record of 3 wins, 2 draws. All the games were extremely close, especially their last game playing, as both teams scored an aggregate time of the second half, which led to a draw. Milan will more than likely still have their star Rafaelleao, who left their last game hurt, and Roma will more than likely be without their star Paulo Dybala, who left their last game also hurt. Roma have had 2 lackluster performances, one against Salernitana, in which they fought back to get a draw, and the other with Hellas Verona, in which they surprisingly lost. The Salernitana game to me is crazy. How do you draw against a Salernitana with Memito Choa at goal? This game is going to be great. The midfield battle is going to be amazing. Roma's new midfielder, houssemaouar, has always been a player I wanted for Milan since his early days at Lyon. It sucks he's not playing for Milan, but oh well. Milan's new midfield signings are doing just fine, I would say. Tijjani and Loftus-Cheek have really been holding down the midfield the past couple games, and this is really their first big test. Mourinho's 5 at the back going up against Pioli's new 4-3-3. But now for who I have winning this game, it's so hard to pick. I'm really leaning towards a draw, but I just can't go against Milan's hot start. Milan will win this game 2-1 and will go into the international break unbeaten, which is something they really need because returning from the break, they go up against Inter in the Milan derby. The Champions League group draw is on Thursday, so let's just hope Milan aren't thrown in the group of death that many have speculated could happen. Now for Chivas and their game against Monterrey. In their last 5 games facing each other, Chivas have a record of 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. Their last games against each other was extremely close. Some may argue Monterrey deserved the win, and I won't argue with that. Monterrey pretty much dominated every aspect of the game, but just couldn't score anything. They even missed a penalty. But now, Chivas are still unbeaten at home this tournament and are going to try to get back on track before the international break. For Chivas, it can't get any worse than what happened against Santos. And the same could be said for Monterrey. They lost to a last-place Cruz Azul on Sunday. Monterrey also have the better team overall, but they are missing a crucial player in Germán Berterame, who is still out due to injury. Monterrey are of course managed by Tano Ortiz, and in his time with America, Tano only lost once to Chivas. It was the most important game that he lost, but it could be said, it really wasn't his fault. And I could almost guarantee Tano is going to have this team on point, especially since they're coming off of 3 straight losses, going all the way back to the League's Cup. But getting into what I think Chivas have to do to win this game, I honestly don't fucking know. Monterrey is so fucking good. But when Chivas attack, they're going to have to make them count. Not all these extra dribbles, trying to make a highlight or draw a stupid foul. They're going to have to stay solid defensively and not get too aggressive offensively. Just counterattack. Alexis Vega is not playing this game. I hope Yael Padilla gets the start, but I just hope to see a good competitive game. And for who I have winning this game, I just don't see Chivas winning this game. I believe Monterrey will win 3-1. That'll be it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter at StopTheCount10. See you next week as I talk about the great fights that await us. See you then.